Am I the asshole for ending my child's 14M visitations with my ex-mother-in-law? My ex-husband and I had a standard custody arrangement. His visitations were every other weekend and the full month of July. Every year in July for the whole month, they would go to Alaska to visit their family. And on July 30th, they would come home, and I would pick up my son the next day, the 31st. If my ex requested to keep our son longer, he would ask me first before any plans were made. We never gave each other a hard time. Now his mother, my ex-mother-in-law, always gave me problems. Back in 2011, my ex was sent to prison. Our custody arrangement at that time was Sundays only for a couple of hours. His mom would constantly ask me if she can keep my son overnights, in which sometimes I would agree. But whenever I would say no, she became very upset. Even when she asked to take him out of town, I would allow her to take him sometimes, but when I refused, she wouldn't take no for an answer. I eventually ended all visitations in 2013. Fast forward to 2015, my ex gets out of prison. We resume visitations for Sundays only for a couple of hours. And there were times when he wanted our son overnight in which I would give the okay. Sometimes. Well, his mom, my ex-mother-in-law, convinced him to take me to court in 2019, and he was awarded visitations every other weekend and the full month of July. So every July, they would take my son to Alaska. This past June, my ex was sent back to prison. My ex-mother-in-law informed me that she had already bought tickets to Alaska and that she was expecting to still take my son. I allowed it because my son really wanted to go. I told her that I would continue to keep up with visitations as long as she respectfully follows the court order. She agreed but also said she had no money to pay her son's child support to me. I told her not to worry about the money. Even though she's rich and lives in a mansion SMH, she can still have visits with her grandson. She then suggested my son should go live with her because he needs a male role model in his life, and that her third husband can help raise him. First of all, I don't know her third husband. He's a stranger and I wasn't going to allow a stranger to raise my kid. She didn't like that. I said no, but eventually she accepted. Anyways, about the trip to Alaska, I told her I expected my son back on July 31st. On July 20th, I texted her asking what day they'll be arriving, and she said August 3rd on a Saturday and that I can pick him up August 4th on Sunday at 5 p.m. I told her that wasn't the agreement. I needed my son back on the 31st, especially because school was going to start on August 8th, and I still needed to get him fitted for uniforms. Her response was, she chose August 3rd because it was her weekend with my son anyway. But she kept him on my days, which were Wednesday, July 31st, Thursday, August 1st, and Friday, August 2nd. Which were days I had planned to go shopping for uniforms and school supplies. She never responded. Apparently my son had no idea he was coming home on the 3rd, he expected to be home on the 31st. So on the flight home, he told his grandma he wanted to come straight home. She didn't like that. So she told him he can make arrangements for me to pick him up at her house because she didn't want to talk to me, so effin' petty. So I pick him up on the 3rd, and he's waiting outside on the curb. She was so upset that he wanted to come home with me she didn't want to wait with him outside. So ridiculous. So tell me, am I an asshole for wanting to end these visitations since the custody order has been void since my ex went back to prison? She made it pretty clear she wasn't going to help me financially. I spend close to $1,000 a month for his tuition, he goes to a private school, and I had to buy all his uniforms and supplies by myself. P.S. My ex and I have not spoken since he went to prison. This is his 3rd time he's been locked up due to violence. He's never given me a hard time with visitations, and he always paid his child support on time every month. It wasn't much, but it was something. Comments from netizens. Comment 1. Not the asshole. Very simple. Your ex-mother-in-law is giving you a hard time and there is no court order forcing you to be nice to her. She repeatedly breaks your trust. There is no reason to let this person stay in your life. Some people need to have consequences to their actions, and even with consequences they might not change. Keep proof of all the times she didn't follow up after an agreement just in case she tries to sue for visitation. Comment 2. Not the asshole. Your first priority is your child's well-being and maintaining a stable environment for him. It sounds like you've been more than accommodating with visitation, despite the challenging circumstances. Your ex-mother-in-law overstepped boundaries by changing the agreed-upon plans without consulting you, showing a lack of respect for your role as the primary caregiver. Moreover, suggesting your son needs a male role model as a pretext for him to live with her, a near stranger to him, is out of line. You're within your rights to adjust visitation to ensure your son's stability and happiness. Comment 3. So she raised a son who has been in prison 3 times and she's been married 3 times but thinks you're the one who needs help raising your son? I'd get down and dirty with this heifer personally. She's in no position to tell you what to do, how to do it, or when. This is your child, and you've been more than gracious in giving her time with him, but enough is enough. Your son was upset by her little stunt, so that would be the last straw for me. I'm sure it's not easy, but she doesn't seem to care how you feel or bother to show you any respect, so it may be time to give her a taste of her own medicine. Maybe that sounds harsh, but nobody messes with my kids, or I'm the mama bear they will regret having poked. If you've tried reason and logic and that's not working, consult an attorney on what your responsibility is to your ex's mother. Let her petition for grandparents' rights and spend her money losing. Your son is 14 and his wishes should be taken into consideration, but she's pushed way too many boundaries to get a say anymore. Good luck and not the asshole. Comment 4. Your ex-mother-in-law is a bitch. That said, does your son love his granny? Does he enjoy spending time with her? Are you ending your son's visits with his granny the hill you are ready to die on? Your son is at a wonky age. Arbitrary decisions made without his input can lead to World War III. If he is fully on board with your decision, then go for it, but if wants to spend time with her, then maybe take time to explain your point of view. And maybe have your son explain to his granny how what she did messed with his time frame for back-to-school stuff. We granny do what our grandkids ask. Comment 5. This woman has the means and motive to take your son wherever she wants, and it will cost you a lot more money and time to get him back than not will to end this agreement. Given the fact that she didn't adhere to the terms of the agreement you have with your ex, it's more than likely she will escalate to keeping your son however long she wants to. In your defense, his last conviction and the financial burden of dealing with no child support along with the shrew's attempt at absconding with your child, all trust has been broken. Most importantly, your son is at the age where he'll be asked what he wants in regards to the custody and visitation arrangements. She's a tricky bitch and I wouldn't trust her as far as I could kick her. This last episode of assholery needs to be addressed and stopped. She left your child on the curb like he was unwanted trash to be taken away. That's not giving loving grandmother. Prepare for her trying to get grandparents' rights to visitation, and no, you are not the asshole. Comment 6. Go to court and fight again. This time cut her off completely, because she did mention that she wanted to keep your son there, so he can be raised by her third husband. So she does have it in mind to kidnap your son. And you need to nip it in the bud, and stop being nice to someone who doesn't give 2 cents about you.